Hello and welcome to day 9 of Unsourced Christmas Carol-A-Thon. And this one is going to be a bit of a no-brainer as well because we're taking a look at possibly one of the most famous adaptations of the story of all time, the Muppet Christmas Carol. Much like Scrooge, what is there to say? Production has basically taken a life of its own at this point. It's become mythic, legendary, all to itself. The fact that it's an adaptation of a Christmas Carol kind of becoming secondary to the idea of itself as a wholly unique entity, the Muppet Christmas Carol. And you know what? It deserves it. Michael Caine as Scrooge, one of the best to ever don a top hat, seamlessly moving between the cold and callous aspects of the character to the more warm and lighthearted and even soft and vulnerable qualities that Scrooge needs for the story to work. And yet, unlike other films, without having to compromise either side by hiding tinges here and there, he makes you believe solidly in both. The songs by Paul Williams are astounding, with lyrics that honestly almost all feel like they're already old Christmas standards, instant classics. And the Muppets, well, they're the Muppets. They're just as fun as ever. And even their shenanigans and gags are perfectly balanced and spaced out so they never trip over each other or the more serious and tense moments that are necessary. It's a delicate line to ride, but even this is able to still pack a punch, and it packs a hell of a punch. So in lieu of going into every little thing that the movie does great, which we could be here all day about, here are a couple things that always stood out to me. First, Nephew Fred and his wife are so good in this. Now, I've actually liked a lot of the Freds in this series so far. It's hard to really get wrong, but I think that the Muppets might genuinely have the best Fred of the bunch. Casting and skewing really young, to the point where he comes up as almost possibly Scrooge's grandnephew, was a bit of a choice. But it works in really allowing the character to inhabit that sense of being a free spirit, being this person who's really into the wonder and magic of Christmas. A little bit of a wide-eyed innocence of the young thing. And it also makes the requisite Christmas party scene a lot more fun than it sometimes can be. They're just these youthful newlyweds. It's good stuff, and it's very well executed. Next would probably be one of the most infamous aspects of this movie, which I probably wouldn't be able to not go mentioning, and that is the "When Love Is Gone" scene, because I see both arguments about that controversy. Alright, so this might be a bit of a moot point now because the scene has been added back into the film officially, but for those who don't know or are watching this way in the future, for a long time the whole payoff to Scrooge's doomed romance was basically cut out of the movie's home releases and for some streaming venues because they felt the majority of the scene, which is mostly just a long falling out of love song, slowed the movie down. And you know, I get it. When I was a kid watching this on VHS, when it was uncut, I did think that scene was a little boring. It went on for a little bit too long, and if there's one aspect that the Muppets Christmas Carol kind of falters, it's that the lost love bit is pretty unremarkable, and that plenty of other adaptations do far better jobs at making this an interesting and tragic set piece. So that song, which is meant to be this big emotional release, feels a bit unearned, and also like an overreach, like it's overextending itself in an area where it didn't quite make the landing. So I wasn't ever too disappointed in it being cut, other than through totally completionist reasons. Like, it's part of the movie, it was in the movie, it's meant to be in the movie, keep it in. But there was another argument for keeping it that I did come around to agreeing with wholeheartedly, which is that the scene and the song are part of the setup for Scrooge's transformation that pays off at the end. The song even gets a sweet reprise/reversal in the final moments. It's not much, but it's a nice touch that adds to the emotional flavor and core of the film. So losing it does impact the impact, and I'm just glad it's back for real now, even if the segment as a whole I do find underwhelming. And lastly, I guess we should talk about the designs of the ghosts. Outside of Marley, who is Statler and Waldorf, they're all original designs. Pass is this uniquely horrifying but genuinely impressive effect. Present is, well, this giant teddy bear, and Future is a horrifying void of nightmare and depth, and they're an imprisoned trio, and they're some of the most enigmatic versions of these characters to ever grace the screen. And they're all Muppets, so that's just incredible. And yeah, this is definitely a jack-of-all-trades adaptation. There are some aspects that it does great, most that it does okay, but nothing it does truly bad, and remains an impeccably consistent watch every year. So overall, 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed this. I always enjoy it. I make it a point to watch it at the end of the Christmas season because I think it has that really sort of exuberant kind of tragic flavor of really being in the Christmas season, but also kind of mourning the previous Christmases, especially the end where like, we gotta make it all year. And I think that's something where you really get that effect right at the end of Christmas and into the lead up to New Year. But let me know what you think. Leave a comment below. Have you seen this? Are you going to see it? Just leave a like, comment, subscribe. See you again next time for day number 10.